It's as loud as it will go. Well, I'm sorry that was rather quite light, but anyway, we do hope that anybody from Norway, and I don't know that we've got Norwegian cruises, but if we do, have a very happy day. This is the end of it for you because it was theoretically yesterday, the 17th of June. Anyway, this is Gold Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, and we didn't broadcast yesterday because we weren't around. We were in Tauranga, and if our Tauranga cruisers are listening, boy, it was chilly in Tauranga, but it is not exactly tropical here this morning, depending on which thermometer we use, between 8 and 12 degrees. We've been a little bit concerned about our one on the roof attached to all the fancy Davis gear, because it seemed to be showing us a higher temperature than it should be, and that's 12 part. We had a min-max thermometer outside, and that said 8. So it is chilly. 1019.9 and rising, and about 1 knot from the south. So at least we don't have a bitterly cold wind. It is just bitterly cold. Not very pleasant at all. So the fire will be going on very shortly. Sounds ever so much nicer up there. I was just talking to Andrew on eye candy, 27 degrees up there at Yandua, 16 to 18 from the southeast. Diego reports about 5 to 10 knots from the east at Anisham for the 5 boats that are there. And of course there were a lot that left last week, and it looks like Gone with the Wind has really led the bunch. They are very close to North Minerva, where it is 10 knots from the east northeast, 70% cloud cover, and only 1 metre sea. So light conditions, but just very, very pleasant. There's a few boats I would like to catch up on and hear from. We haven't heard anything from Citrus Tart, and didn't mind hearing from Ice Fair. There's a couple of boats that left just recently, so we'll give a call for those shortly. But at the moment, is there anybody? Oh, my goodness, I left my diary. I'm going to pass the microphone for David and go and search for my little diary with all the news of the world. What an idiot.
She's flagellating herself here for losing her nose. She didn't lose them. The other room. Anyway, well, I'm looking at satellite imagery right now. I'm looking at the latest loop, and I'll talk about this in a little more detail. But there's a pretty well wrapped up depression that's in the Tasman. The center of it is, probably about the latitude of Sydney, so it's just offshore Queensland, and it's putting out tremendous amounts of cloud, overrunning cloud we call it, and it actually has reached New Zealand. And if we look outside right now, we can see that cloud. She's back. All right, we'll get into all that in a minute. Here's the chief.
Okay, look, I came in here early just because I know I need reprogramming after a weekend, especially a long weekend for us. So anyway, we'll give a call now to see if there are any boats that want to check in at this point in time. I just had to turn the volume up, but there was one male voice there. Go ahead. Well, Manua, I think it is. Is that you, Phil? Over? No, I am going to need some help. I think there was 2, and both of them are very light. Andrew, Eye Candy, can you hear either of those 2 boats?
Yes, we got Rewa. There was another one. Rewa, go ahead and your position over. Roger, this is Rewa, and my position is 55 degrees, 21 minutes south, 179 degrees, 54 minutes east. And heading toward Minerva, my wind is 11 degrees, and let me see, that's what wind is out of the east. The wind is out of the east, and very late, and the opportunity is 4 knots over the middle, and my force is 0 right now.
Andrew, I've got that except for the longitude. Could you repeat the longitude?
There's a longitude is 55 degrees, 21 minutes south.
Yeah, longitude, over.
Okay, 179 degrees, 54 minutes east.
Okay, I've got that. Thanks, Andrew. He came up quite well, except I didn't get the niner. Okay, so another one heading for Minerva, and that sounds about right for the light conditions going there. There's going to be quite a nice collection of boats there, and I presume all is doing good for you on board, Rewa. I think you were one of the ones that left on Thursday, weren't you? So that's all good, and we will. I actually haven't got any details for you this year, but I should look them up somewhere. All right, we've got Rewa. Andrew, who was the other one?
Now I couldn't believe it outside. Hold on, I came out the relay. A potential there that was trying to take into Gulf Harbor. Go ahead. Avalon, over.
And I've got you very well now too.
Avalon.
Avalon, I think it might be, not Avalon. Avalon, go ahead, Tom.
Good morning, yes, this is Avalon. We are at 2610 south, 179
Okay, and you have fairly light conditions as well, do you?
Roger that. Still sailing at the moment. Wind from the east southeast, 7 to 10 knots. We are making speed over ground of 6 knots and cloud cover about 30% over.
And are you going to stop at Minerva too?
Roger that. Over.
And North Minerva or South? Because I'm actually hoping that someone will go into South Minerva and check up on that marooned buoy. Are you going into North? Over.
Roger that. North Minerva, over.
Okay, got that. And you have an excellent signal now, actually. So I'm not sure what happened for both of you at the start. Sometimes it just takes a bit of getting the old radio working, particularly if you've been talking to boats and had it on low power. Sometimes it needs a bit of oomph. All right. Get the valves warmed up. That's very old, isn't it? All right, I've got that, and we'll pick up anybody else shortly. I'll just quickly give you a bit of news to keep you up to date with what the world is doing, seeing as there's been a bit of a gap. Auckland Council, you will recall that I mentioned that they had proposed to charge super yachts, so this is all in preparation, I guess, for the America's Cup. They were going to charge them $1,000 a day to anchor in our harbour here, and of course that was met with a lot of derision from everybody. They have now backtracked on that, and for yachts greater than 40 metres, I don't suppose there's many of you listening out there, most boats greater than 40 metres are probably sitting in a hot tub or watching a big screen satellite television or something. But anyway, if you were a yacht greater than 40 metres, you will now pay a one-off entry fee of $23 a metre for 12 months, and this applies to both cruise ships, cargo vessels, and anything else that floats and wants to anchor in the harbour. Okay, the New York Times, and this is a bit of a disappointment, it's now dismissed all political cartoons. This follows similar actions by the Houston Chronicle and the Singapore International Herald Tribune, which is actually called the International New York Times now. It's pretty sad that these cartoons have been, I think they're a really good indication of what's going on. They seem to be able to pluck the sentiment of the people, but some of them have been a little bit nasty, and they've just ruined it for themselves. So they've chopped the lot. So don't expect to see any cartoons in the New York Times. This week in Britain, of course, it's going to be the elimination rounds for the next Tory leader. They are down from 10 people to 7, and by the end of the week there will be a choice of just 2. Boris Johnson is clearly going to be one of those 2. He's vowed to leave the EU by October 31, and that sort of makes him a little bit different from some of the others, regardless of the problems of the Irish border, which is in fact 500 kilometres long, so it is going to be a problem. But by the end of the week, we'll know who the 2 people are going to be to choose between. Going across the Atlantic now to the United States, and this is absolutely astounding news. The Toronto Raptors have made history, defeating the Warriors in the NBA Finals to become the first ever non-USA NBA champions. I mean, this is the beginning of the end for America when you can't even win your own basketball competition.
They gave it away.
Good Lord. 114 to 110. It must have been an absolutely stunning game. It was in the home crowd in Oakland, California. Huge, raucous crowd. But even they couldn't do much about well, I just absolutely amazed. When I first went to live in America, I was also amazed that the Blue Jays actually won. I can't remember who it was.
Nancy Pelosi put the jinx on
Oh dear. David is not a fan of Nancy Pelosi. All right, let's get to the other side of the country. New York legislation. They voted to eliminate the state's religious exemption for mandatory vaccinations for children. They're dealing with the worst measles outbreak in 25 years. We were talking to our friends about that on the weekend because as a child, we all, and admittedly I'm talking a lot of years ago, but we all expected to get measles, mumps, chickenpox, and we all did. And it wasn't any big deal, but now it seems to be a big deal that you're not allowed to get anything like this. So we're, in fact, even in New Zealand, they have got measles outbreaks because people had sort of stopped immunising. But anyway, there is no excuse now. You cannot not immunise your child if you are in New York. Okay, well, the Paris Air Show is in action today. It's on my bucket list. I don't know whether I'll ever get to it. I got to Farnborough, but I never got to the Paris Air Show. We had our own major and terrible mid-air collision here in the weekend at the Masterton Aerodrome, Hood Aerodrome. It doesn't have an air traffic controller. It's just a small aerodrome. A training aeroplane and an aircraft that had just dropped some parachutists collided only 100 metres off the deck. They were both coming into land. Both pilots are dead. It was just a terrible accident. You're meant to follow procedures, as all you pilots will know. Coming into a non-controlled aerodrome, you tell people just on the radio. You don't get a response, but you actually call in and tell people where you are, what you're doing, what your intentions are, and unfortunately something hiccupped. All right, and also in the news again today, it's been a whole page of news, and it was another whole page almost today. The crew of Squander, who abandoned the vessel only 27 miles from Great Barrier Island on Sunday. The boat, as you probably know, had rigging problems. They had a pretty rough trip out of New Zealand with the ICA rally that left them very strong headwinds and seas. Anyway, they got very close, 27 metres, and unfortunately decided to abandon 27 miles. I am a bit sleepy. But it was a very professional rescue. The Auckland rescue helicopter went out and within 20 minutes had hoisted all 4 of them on board.
That's where to go.
That was I suppose you could call it a successful end, but it's very sad for the boat Squander. Still floating there. I'm not sure. I presume somebody, seeing as it's so close, is going to go and retrieve it. Okay, South America have had quite a huge power outage. Tens of millions of people, in fact, in Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay were in the dark, and also northern parts of Chile and Brazil. There was rumour of a cyber attack, but it does appear to have been a problem at one of the installations in Argentina. And weather has been a major problem in the southeast of France. Just short but absolutely severe rain and hailstorms the size of ping pong balls have really badly affected. You could almost cry when you see the peaches and apricots and cherries. They are just chewed up, pummeled. 10 minutes of it, and that's the damage. Also vegetables and so on. It killed 2 people, injured quite a few others. And storms have also struck western Switzerland. There were 465 boats on Lake Geneva. It was their annual regatta, I think, that they have. And one person actually died, fell overboard and drowned, but quite a few boats were damaged. So, yep, it's pretty bad weather in some parts of the world at the moment. I will just give another call before David takes over. In fact, what I'd like to do is eye candy. If you could give a call to any boats not copying me, please, Andrew.
Thank you. This is eye candy relay for radio. Any little country to check in. Here, this is Carl. Go ahead.
And it's to
This one's a check in to Northwest. Radio, go ahead.
Thank you, Andrew, for the trays. There's a couple of boats I would like to hear from before we finish. So if Citrus Tart is listening, but we have got quite a bit of information for you boats that are going to Minerva, and I'm going to pass the microphone now.
all right. Good morning, and with a lot of activity in the Southwest Pacific, that's for sure. We've got multiple fronts and troughs virtually blanketing the cruising routes. We find a high. It's 1026 central pressure, just to the west of the South Island, and a complex low pattern east of New Zealand. Complex low, remember, is multiple centers. Now, in the upper Tasman, we find a depression. That's what I was talking about when Patricia was looking for her notes. That depression is near Lord Howe Island, and it's heading toward New Zealand in more or less a southeast fashion, and it's expected to lie just west of the South Island by lunch on, I would say, Thursday. Now, our high at that point will have decided to get out of the way, and it'll move to just east of Timaru in the South Island, and it gains some strength. Central pressure estimated to be about 1028 millibar by that time. Now back to that Lord Howe depression, it looks like the second low center is forecast to develop to just its east. More or less it would lie halfway between New Zealand and New Caledonia. The models are picking this up now. I don't see it on the satellite imagery at this point, but they are picking it up to form. 2 fronts are emerging from the original low and supposedly from the new low by midnight, and they run pretty much west to east. So just picture 2 reasonably wide but very, very long frontal bands running west to east. One about 30 south, so it just runs clean across all the cruising routes at 30 south. And the other one at about 32 south, doing the same thing, running from that Lord Howe area right on 32 south all the way to the east and to the other side of the dateline. In addition, we've got 3 troughs that run north, believe it or not. One runs up and down about 162 east, not exactly straight up and down, but a bit of an angle. The second one about 168 east, and the third one 178 east. Now these are approximate locations. I'm going to have to check imagery later on when they do develop. These are forecasted, so we'll see if they have developed and exactly where they are, and I'll do that by looking at imagery. So that'll be later. So let's look at the 25 or so yachts that left roughly last Thursday. Some little before, some left a little after, but anyway, the gaggle of yachts that went. So by late Sunday, Monday, I reckon that you should have been to 30 south, and by today, many of you about 28 south, and that seems to be the case based on reports that we've been getting and on the radio this morning. Now, light air today, easterly quadrant around 10 knots. Those near Minerva Reef, quite close to Minerva, about the same. So you're all in that light air area that we had predicted on Friday. Now, tomorrow, much the same wind, speed, and direction. By Thursday, though, which is, I believe, the 20th, Thursday is the day that the wind starts to fill in. So Minerva will show, I believe, east-southeast in about the 15 knot range, and that will be about the same wind from Minerva to Fiji or Tonga. So between Minerva and those destinations, that's what you'd be looking at, about 15 knots. Now by Friday, Minerva may possibly see east to east-southeast, getting up to the 20 knot range. That's Friday. And again, the same winds apply from there all the way up and including Fiji and Tonga. So that light wind area will be to the south of Minerva, but the winds will pick up from Minerva northward at that point. Winds at Aneityum then 10 to 15 from the east roughly. New Caledonia will have easterly quadrant then as well, and that will be in about the 10 knot range. Now, that's the mean wind situation, mean wind, sort of the average. So let's not forget about the troughs that I talked about, and they are not very predictable. Models certainly don't predict them, but, well, not all the time. Sometimes they do. But expect them from now right through Sunday. In fact, Sunday, a very, very good chance that New Caledonia may be affected by a moderate to strong trough. And that one is being picked up by the models. And by the 26th, Wednesday, quite long range, the trough may be over Vanuatu, lower Vanuatu, and may also affect Minerva Reef. That's the 26th Wednesday. So, a few questions about arrival Fiji Monday or Tuesday, about a week from now, for those that want to hang around Minerva for a while. So expect, this is a guess now, expect easterlies for arrival in Fiji, about 15 to 20 knots. And I do not see any signs of convective activity at that point. So it looks like it's going to be pretty decent, other than that trough or possibly frontal band that may affect Minerva. But anyhow, getting up there to Fiji at that time, it looks pretty good. Now, as we mentioned, that there is a lot of cloud lying throughout the Southwest Pacific, and again, that's readily seen with satellite imagery, and that's what I use mostly. There lies two active troughs over the Solomons. One lies over Tuvalu, in addition to that, and another one over Rotuma, and that runs up to Tokelau. And there's also a fair amount of wind over Fiji and Tonga, but actually lighter air for Vanuatu and New Caledonia. And that's basically now. So looking at Tonga for today, the Met Service there has issued a strong wind warning for Vavau. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 and rising up to 25 knots at times. And they're talking about rough seas and a moderate southerly swell. And they're giving it a band of 2 to 4 meters, 2 to 4 meters. That's quite a big swell. 4 meters is a huge swell coming into those small islands. Now the Hapais and Tongatapu, a little bit lighter, east to southeast, about 10 to 15. But again, they may rise up to about 20. And down there, southerly swells 1 to 3 meters. Now the wind should drop a bit on Wednesday for the group, I believe, east to southeast, about 10 knots. So it's come down quite a bit, rising to maybe 15 knots. And the swell should be down too, maybe about 1 to 2 meters. So things will be looking up by Wednesday. The actual conditions this morning, these are at 5 a.m., and I obtained these from what we call the METARs, and these are actual reports given by the airports that are in various areas. So the Val, this is what they're reporting. Southeast 3, showers, scattered cloud, and there are quite a few towering cumulus clouds. And if you see them on a map, you'd see the letters TCU, Tango Charlie Uniform, towering cumulus. And those are precursors to thunderstorms. Barometer 1013, that's for Val. The Hapais, southeast 12, and again, scattered towering cumulus there, and barometer 1014. Tongatapu, east 4, pretty light down there, scattered cloud, very humid. Barometer 1016. Now Fiji on imagery definitely shows numerous cloud. So for today, expect basically cloudy periods with scattered showers, particularly on the Big Islands. The normal stuff, the usual, the easterly quadrant winds hit the hills, up we go, cloud forms, raindrops, happens virtually every day. Typical tropical situation. But some of the smaller areas could get showers as well due to the number of clouds that we've got, and particularly in the afternoon. And that's when things do heat up and the air starts rising a bit more then. Now, Fiji Met has issued a strong wind warning for all Fiji waters, and they're expecting east to southeast 20 to 25 knots, with a bit of an ease on Wednesday. Easterlies about 15 to 20. Now, I looked at the radar loop this morning early. It shows scattered showers over virtually most of Fiji, from the Lau all the way to the Asauas. And these are of the come and go variety. They're there, they're not there, then they pop up again. Eastern Viti Levu, though, is getting the lion's share, I would say, in looking at the loop. Not any of these showers have a lot in them that I can see, so just a bit annoying. Maybe clean off the deck, maybe not even that. Over to Vanuatu, where cloud is quite evident over the group, especially to the north. I'll give you a few spot forecasts for today. Port Vila is expecting mostly cloudy, winds east about 15. Down in Lenikai, where the volcano is, mostly cloudy, winds east around 10. Anisha, mostly cloudy, winds easterly, again around 10. Diego reports pretty much that. He's down there. So that's good. That agrees with what we've got here. Luganville, cloudy, easterly 10 or so there. A little bit further north, Port Orly, light showers, easterlies 10 knots or so. Up in Sola, a little bit further north, showers there as well. The winds are stronger. They're in the 20 knot range. Boy, when we were in Sola, we always had a lot of wind up in Sola. It just seemed like that's what it did up there. New Caledonia also shows partly cloudy skies. Winds light and variable mostly for the southern lagoon. Showers for Ile de Pan. Looks like northeasterly winds there in the 10 knot range. About the same Wednesday. Looks like light air really right through Friday. I'd say easterlies around 10, maybe east-southeast. Now, those variable winds I talked about today, I think they're going to favor northeast if I had to pick the direction. And tomorrow, I think, even though they're variable, I think they're going to favor southerly. And that is pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. So if you want more detail, come now, or questions, come now. And here's the chief.
Well, hopefully the boats heading into Minerva heard all that. The boats on streaming, we had some intermittent streaming problems. Thank you for that, John. XZ Strike sorted that out, I think. Still waiting for my new modem to arrive. Boy, things are slow. Just a quick bit of update from people that have given some weather. Makushla are in Soma Tabiuni area, partly cloudy, light breeze. north coast of Viti Levu, Exocet strikes at 16 of the southeast, recent rain, 60% cloud cover. Mezzaluna are in the northern Lao Bay of Islands, seem to be enjoying it there, beautiful spot by the look of the photos. But a drizzle doesn't show up all that much, it's too bad on the satellite picture, so it should be a reasonable day. Whistler are at Whaua in the Hawaiis, 15 knots of southeast, 50% cloud cover and 25 sea. They are on their report, they showed an AIS picture of up there in the Vavau Harbour. I don't think we've spent much time. Well, occasionally we would go in to get something, but not stay there. But boy, there are a lot of boats in Vavau at the moment with the combination of the ICA rally and the ARC. So, boy, if you go to northern Tonga, go to one of the numbered anchorages. Boy, it does look like a zoo there. Is there anybody else with wanting to give a report? I wouldn't mind hearing from Citrus Tart to find out where you are. Anybody else? The boat that just called, try again. Make sure you're on high power, please.
I'm on high power. This is Alpha Kilo Alpha.
Good morning, Aka, and yes, you did come up. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm about 10 miles out of North Minerva, and we have rain all around like showers, sort of. And what wind there is very light northeasterly, over.
Okay, thank you for that. You must be very close to Gone with the Wind there, so you'll be able to pave the way for the boats behind you. So thanks for that, Aka. You want to comment? Okay.
No, Arca, thanks for that wind direction, and that gives me cause to pop in here. The winds that we give here are based pretty much on the mean winds that we're picking up from the modeling. Now, when you have convective activity, cloud and showers, you're always going to get wind shifts. And all of you experienced people know that, but some don't. So that's what happens when you start to get the showers. The winds are coming down from altitude. They bring a lot of the wind with them from that altitude that they fall with them. And usually you get a wind shift with it. So anyhow, that's it.
Yeah, I hope the visibility is not too bad once you want to get in there. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. And it doesn't sound like the showers are bringing the southern France golf ball size hail with them. Boy, that would be a bit nasty, wouldn't it? And I just had a message from Margie on Whistler. The ARC boats left yesterday, so that will help clean up some space for those wanting to get into the Vavau area. All right, anybody else? Who's that? Lady's voice there. Go ahead and just give me your boat name again. Acacia, go ahead. Oh, it's not very good, but I have quite a lot of noise here at the moment. So whereabouts are you at the moment? Okay, I've got the 17953 east. The important thing for me is the latitude. Could you give me the latitude again? 2517. Okay, and you have come up there, so that's good. Yes, sometimes it's just a matter of speaking a bit more loudly. People forget that a microphone is really, really different from a cell phone, so it does need a bit of oomph with the words to get through. Actually, you came up pretty well then. And are you going into Minerva? Over. So David covered the weather in Fiji Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I'll just get him to do it again because I think there are quite a few people that may bypass Minerva and go straight to Fiji. So I think from memory what he said, it looked pretty good, but I'll get him to repeat.
Well, I'm just looking again here. I'm trying to see what I said about Arrival Fiji. What was that? Saturday?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, this is for those that possibly will just go straight past Minerva and go on to Fiji. You do know, of course, that you will be getting pretty light air between now and then, so the Arrival Friday might be a bit optimistic for those that are looking to sail. Here's David.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday, mostly easterly winds, give or take on the direction, but in the 10 knot category, maybe even less. So it'll be pretty good conditions all the way from the Minerva area up to Fiji through that period. So you won't have any trouble whatever you decide to do. Over.
Well, hopefully you heard that, as did the others. Clear with Acacia. Is there anybody else? I'll just have to turn the microphone down, the volume down a bit because I had it quite high for her. Try again, over. Oh, it's Citrus Tart. Good morning. Where are you guys? You're incognito at the moment.
We're all good on board. 2509 South, 17856 West. We're doing about 4 knots, and it's pretty good day out here. We're going into South Minerva.
Oh, excellent. So that will give me some information about that monster buoy there, and absolutely booming radio signal. So thank you for that, both. So you'll be not too far away. So we'll keep track of you. And yep, it sounds very nice out there. So that's good. All right, Citrus Tart is alive and well in the ocean there. Okay, is there anybody else before we pull the plug? I will be on, anybody who's a ham radio operator, I'll be on coordinating Tony's net this morning in about an hour's time. And don't forget, you guys, you have got the South Pacific net coming up in about 10 minutes too. Anybody else? Now I have to turn the volume up again. Who was that? Oh, Arca, go ahead. Well, thank you for the update. So Arca has wind that switched from 5 knots from the northeast to 10 knots from the west.
There you go.
There you go, says David. Oh, don't you love it? Oh, well, just bring down the sails and put the motor on and deal with it. I hate it being on watch when those sorts of things happen. There'd be a fair amount of swearing and cursing going on. But as Peter Blake always used to say, before you do a sail change, have a cup of tea. And you can see why. Okay. With that, we will leave you all in peace. I'll be here just doing a bit if anyone thinks of something at the end, but we'll clear the frequency. It's all yours, and we will be back again tomorrow. It's now light enough for us to tell you that it's about 40% cloud cover, clear overhead, and hardly any wind at all here, but I'm not going outside to confirm. Just a little bit of wind here, slight little bit of movement, but yeah, very nippy. Cheers, everybody. Have a good day. I always spelled Arca, A-R-C-A, but it's A-K-A.
Oh, yeah.